Peace and blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taj UC and I'm a certified financial coach. I'm also the founder of True Financial Coaching, where our mission here is to educate, enlighten, and equip individuals with the financial literacy that is needed in order to get off the rat wheel. What is the rat wheel? The rat wheel is when one is constantly financing objects that go down in value for them, but up in value for the banks at the same time. The wheel is only powered as long as the rat is in motion. So, when one is constantly financing depreciating objects, they are the rat that is powering the wheel. And it's not until when one wakes up, realizes that they are the rat, that they can create a plan and implement that plan consistently, that they give themselves an opportunity to be free of the rat wheel, to get off of the rat wheel. And then they allow themselves to be free to do what they want when they want, instead of having to do the things that they don't want. Today I wanted to come on and just share my thoughts. And I was thinking about something for, past few days regarding what is referred to as work-life balance. And work-life balance, they say is when one is able to have that separation between the job and their natural life, family, just whatever hobbies, things of that nature, friends, and that balance between working and just doing for themselves, taking care of themselves and those around them that they love, having that time to do that. And that's why I say time is, true wealth from a natural perspective. Owning the time of your life is wealth, but many people don't understand that. So with the work-life balance type of thing, a lot of people don't have that work-life balance. And that's something that when I was working, I was very big on. I was very big on putting that distinction between my job or my career, whatever you want to call it, and outside of the workplace. And, even when I first started teaching 25 years ago, I always told myself that I won't take work home. That's something I always said to myself, won't take work home. I give the job 8 hours in the building. Most people get a job 8 hours in the building. And after that, for me, it was like, that's it. Let me come home and I'm no longer the teacher. I'm now just Taj. I was always a separation for me. And I find that when one is able to do that, it eliminates a lot of stress. It eliminates a lot of worry, because like I said, when I step out that building, that's it. That was it. There was no answering emails. There was no grading papers for me. There was no whatever. None of that planning. Why? Because I believed in work-life balance, but I know new teachers that would take work home, stay up hours, stressing out about meeting this deadline or whatever. Yeah, I believe in meeting deadlines and doing whatever, is asked of us, but not when it infringes on my personal time, right? And that's what I mean about that work-life balance, which most people don't have. They take work home, staying up hours, doing this, that, and the other, neglecting family, neglecting self, neglecting health, and then wondering why, you have all these problems, sleep deprivation, migraine headaches, physical ailments in the body because of lack of work-life balance. And like I said, most people don't have that. They don't have it. For the majority of people, work 40 hours a week, right? Majority of people work 40 hours a week. But the 40 hours a week that's being worked doesn't mean that's the 40 hours of that's dedicated to work, because it's more than 40 hours. And what I mean is, the moment that one wakes up to go to work, you're on the clock. And the sad thing is, you're not even getting paid for that. But that's another story. But as soon as you wake up, you're on the clock. So, for example, I'm just using me for example, and you could just use your own self. But for me, I would probably wake up about 5:30 in the morning, right? And I would just have my, have prayer or whatever, and read. That's part of my daily routine. But I'm not counting that, because that was my time. But as soon as I got myself in the bathroom, ironing my clothes and getting ready, now I'm on the clock. So I would say for me, that was about an hour every morning, outside of what I was doing for myself, sitting, meditating, thinking, whatever. But I'm just talking about working, time spent for work. So we're looking at about an hour. Then it would take me like 30 minutes to get to work. So that's another hour and a half. 30 minutes one way, so you're looking at 2 hours outside of being in the building that was given to work. Now on top of that, you got I'm gonna just say 8 hours. I'm gonna say 8 hours, right? You got 8 hours. So you're looking at 10 hours a day. Times five, that's 50 hours. 50 hours a week. So now let's do the math. Let's do the math. Pull up my calculator on my phone. Do the math. Looking at 24 times 7. 24 hours a day times 7 days a week. 160 hours in a week. Minus 50, because that's the time I would give. Right? That's 118. Now, let's not forget you sleep, right? So that's 118. So I'm going to minus sleep. Let's just say 8 hours, right? 8 hours times 7 is 56. So 118 minus 56 leaves us with 62 waking hours, not dedicated to work. 62 waking hours. So now the question is, what are individuals doing with that 62 waking hours? And like I said, and some of those hours, we'll just say what, 32 of those hours are Sunday and Saturday. So you're looking at 30 hours just throughout the regular week, Monday through Friday. 30 hours Monday through Friday. 30 hours Monday through Friday dedicated for us, where, like I said, 50 hours was given to the job. So from Monday through Friday, I'm spending more time dedicated to work than I am to my own life. So where can people have the balance at, when most of the time is given to the employer? And again, I'm not saying nothing wrong with work. I just want to show you something. I'm not trying to convince you to quit your job. No, that's a decision individuals got to make on their own at a certain time. But an individual can leave their job with debt. They can. You can't. And this is what I'm saying about, use the job for what it is, a tool. Use it for what it's just a tool. It's a tool for what? To get me out of debt, to help me build wealth. And then once I'm done with it, I can put it to the side. I'm done. I'm done. But for most people, the majority of the people They can't do that. You can't do that. Why? Because of the rat wheel. That's the rat wheel. Constantly financing objects. Constantly financing objects. And wondering why they living paycheck to paycheck. Wondering why I gotta tolerate the things that I do on my job for my employer. Why can't I go to my child's report card conference? And that's as a teacher I would always think about that. And it came to me. I understood, but I would I would, working in middle school, I would have three classes, about 33 students a class. So you're looking at 90 to 99 students that I would see throughout the day. I would have throughout the year, 90 to 99 students. Report card conference come, back to school night, whatever. It would be a handful of parents. 3-day conferences for report cards. I would maybe see 9 to 12 parents. 9 to 12 parents out of 90 to 99 students. But you know what? I get it. I get it. A lot of times parents say, I gotta work, can't get off. It's like, come on, this is your child. This is your child. And I'm not saying they're bad parents, but what I'm trying to show you is the job. The job dictates my work-life balance if I allow it to. See? If I allow it to. Because we determine that work-life balance. But a lot of people allow their job to determine their work-life balance. Allow the job to determine when I can take off. When can I make my appointments to take care of myself, my health? When can I gotta put in to take off for my child's game or report card conferences or graduations, and if I don't get approved, then what? Then what? You know how many people probably missed out on important events because a job was dictating their work-life balance? We determine that, not a job. But a lot of people subject themselves to that because they need the job. And they don't realize why they need it. It's because they live the lifestyle that they chose to live of constantly financing depreciating objects. But I'm telling you, once you get off that rat wheel, once you realize that I am the one that's causing this will to power, and then once you get out of debt, you'll look at a job differently. I'm telling you, look at a job differently. And I'm saying this because I know it. I experienced it. I experienced it. Like I said, I never was the type of individual to just let a job just dictate my life. But I can see how people do that. I was just always wondering, why am I living paycheck to paycheck? But I never let a job dictate my life. And we got people that don't do that also, but the majority of the people do. But I remember one time, and this is what I'm saying, man, these employers, man, they think they can just do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and just accept it. And then we just accept it. I remember my wife, she gave birth to our youngest son, and I was working at a school, one of the schools I was working at, and she had complications. And when he was born, he was put in the IC. He had to be in the ICU. And I remember we had to go up to the hospital, for just checking, for something. But we had to just go up there, whatever. But I was at work, and then I think I either got a call or I forget what it was, but I got a call. But I had went to one of my supervisors and I told her, look, I gotta go to the hospital. And I explained to her about my son, what was wrong and everything. She was like, okay. So it might have been in the morning, but she said to me, well, are you coming back like this, that the same day? I'm thinking to myself, lady, did you just hear what I just said? I just explained to you about my son. He's in ICU and we had to make this emergency run. She had the nerve to ask me, am I coming back? So I said, no, I don't plan on coming back. No, I'm not coming back. Okay, but whatever she said, I forget. But this is the fact that she would even say that. These employers don't care. They don't care. They don't care about, and I'm not saying every employer, right? But ones that I've encountered, a lot of them don't care. They can care less until the shoe is on the other foot, right, till the tables are turned. But it just it showed me something. It showed me that, again, a job is just a job. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. And many people stress out about a job, give all their all to a job. You know, the jobs will say, well, be a team player, be a team player. Team player? No. The only team I'm playing for is my team, Team Utsi, my family, right? Because at the end of the day, when I'm gone, the job is just going to replace me with somebody else talking that same talk about being a team player. No, man, there's no team player. If your plan, right, if your play scheme as your employer, as your play scheme goes against my play scheme, I'm choosing my team all the time. And a lot of people ain't willing to do that. They can't do that. So this is why they take the nonsense and the foolishness of a job, and then wondering why, feeling all stressed out, tension all up in the shoulders, and migraines and health, uh, you know, failures. Health is deteriorating because of a job that can care less about you and yours. Jobs don't care. But again, just use the job for what it is, a tool. Again, I'm not knocking job. I'm not job shaming nobody. I'm not job shaming. I'm not doing any of that. But I've seen it. I've seen people get so stressed out over a job, people walking on eggshells at a job. And the main reason is because of debt. Because of debt. But I'm telling you, like I said, when you get out of debt, you look at a job completely different. You won't put up with the foolishness that most people put up with. You won't allow people to just talk to you any type of way. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm just talking to, those that do this. Because I'm telling you, and even when I was in debt, I never allowed nobody to just talk to me any type of way. Nope, but you got people that do that. If your job is taking up or keeping you from doing what it is you want to do in life, you need to examine that. You need to examine that. Like, why? Why can't I take a vacation with my family? Because the job says no. Why can't I just go away for 2 weeks? Why can't I? Why do I have to miss appointments, graduations, games? Why is that? No work-life balance. No work-life balance. If your job give you a company phone and you bragging that you got a company phone and you don't have a cell phone bill, you don't get it. Because some employers do that. They give you a company phone, cell phone, and you bragging, man, I would never allow, I would, no, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't allow, and now I get it if I was depending on what type of job you have, but if they giving you a company phone, you're giving them 24-hour access to you. 24-hour access to you. So at the drop of a call, I can be somewhere with my family, get a call, I gotta go. And I get it depending upon the job you have, but I don't want a job dictating that. And this is what I'm saying about work-life balance. Don't allow your job to dictate your work-life balance. You dictate the work-life balance. You answering emails on your days off, that's no work-life balance. That's no work-life balance. On my day off, I'm thinking about work. I'm not doing that. And like I said, I was a teacher for 25 years. I can count on two hands how many times I took work home because I always said to myself, I'm not taking work home. I always said that. And it was sometimes I had to, but very limited, very little. But I know teachers, like I said, they take work home, grading papers, planning, answering emails, doing lesson plans, staying up hours, and then complain. Then complain and say there's not enough hours in the day. This is what I'm saying, man. When you get out of debt, you won't be taking work home. When you get out of debt, you have your emergency fund. The job don't want to give you that time off, you just take it off. I never understood that. Why I have to I get putting in the request in, right? But why do I have to be approved to use time that I've been given? Why do I got to be approved for that? I get putting the request in. I'm letting you know in advance I'm going to take this time off. But to wait and say, well, you got to wait to be approved. No. I got to be approved to use time that I was given. Well, they got to find a replacement, make sure you got the number of workers on. That's not my problem. That's your problem. That's your problem. This is my time. But, and some people, if they don't get approved, they just go right into work. Why? They have to. But I'm telling you, when you get out of debt, there is no, you got to be approved for this. Okay. If I don't get approved, I'm just taking the time off then. Well, you're not getting paid. No big deal. I won't get paid for it. Okay. I won't get paid for it. Big deal. But you know what? I got the time. I used the time how I wanted to use it. Because when you get out of debt, you got a savings. You don't get paid. And it's not like, I'm not saying like just take advantage, but things happen. All right, whatever. But when you get out of debt, you got a savings that one couple of days or whatever you don't get paid for not getting approved to use your time. So I got to just take time off. it won't even matter to you. Like I said, I remember this past school year, this was one of the longest school years that I've ever had because I knew I was going to be free at the end of it. But I was using days, and some days I didn't get paid for it, for because whatever. I used up all my time, but I wanted to take more time off. But when I didn't get paid for some of the days, but did it bother me? No, nope. Why? Because I had no debt. I had savings. So whatever days I didn't get paid for, I just used my emergency savings. No big deal. And I really didn't even need to use it because that much of it because my expenses were so low. But this is what I'm saying about eliminating debt. Once you eliminate debt, you determine when I take days off, not a job. You determine when I get approved to take. I don't have to wait for an approval to take a day off. I just take it whenever I need it. I'm telling you, man, the more I think about it, the more I realize that the 40-hour work week is a program. It is a program. It is a program. The more I think, because I'm, I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of where I working the 40 hours. I've been on the side of being free. Been on both sides. And I see more and more that the 40-hour work week is a program. It's a program. And many people are conditioned. Conditioned. And like I said, the conditioning started at an early age. Started at an early age. Sometimes I just sit outside on my step and I sit out early and you see the same people, on my block. You see the same people every day, but it's like the same program, the same routine. I see them leaving 7 o'clock. I see them coming back home around 6 o'clock to do it all over again. That was me. But like I said, when you in it, you don't see it. And that's what I said. I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides. When you in it, you don't see it. It's like being in a room that just stinks. But the more you've been in there, you just become your nose become immune to the smell. But you let somebody from the outside come in, man, how can you sit in here like that? What do they say? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't smell nothing. You know why? Because you've been in it for so long. That was me. That was me, man. And that's a majority of people. You've been in the program for so long that you just become desensitized, that this is just normal. But I'm telling you, it's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's not. It's common, but it's not normal. A thing is common don't mean it's normal. Because a thing is common doesn't make it normal. But people have become programmed and normalized to the 40-hour work week that they think it has to be this way. And it doesn't. It doesn't. So they live for Saturdays. They live for Saturdays. They live for Friday nights. And then Sunday, okay, but around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, start getting that nausea feeling. Why? Because I got to do it all over again. That lets you know it's not normal. But people they don't hear the signals. Why? Because it's a lot of noise, right? It's a lot of noise. They can't hear the signal. That's a signal. That nauseated feeling that you get on Sunday evenings because you got to do it over again, that's a signal. But people, we ignore the signals. They ignore the signals. And the noise, it distracts us from this, listen to the signal. I've been on both sides, and I'm telling you, being on this side of it, it's beautiful, man. You know why? Because I own the time in my life. I own the time in my life. I'm free to do what I want when I want, whenever I want to. I don't got to wait for a Friday to do something, to go to the beach or a Saturday, whatever. You know, I don't got to do that, to plan a trip. I don't got to wait till the weekend. And I'm not saying that to brag. I just want to show you something. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm trying to show you something. Because that I was in that, I was on that rat wheel. I was in that program, but I escaped it. Now, one thing that really had me thinking about this work-life balance also was, it was a story I think I came across about a month ago about a woman, forget her name, but she was like, had her own business, self-employed. And the reason why I say self-employed, because a lot of people, all right, having your own business and being self-employed, to me, are two different things. See, because when you have your own business, this is just to me, that business can function without me being there. If I'm a business owner, that business can function without me being there. I don't have to be there for the the business to keep running. See, but when I'm self-employed, I have to be there, right? I got to be there. So if I'm now, if I'm self-employed, right now I'm self-employed, right? I do financial coaching. Because and my services depends upon me putting in the work. Like, I got to be there. Whereas if I had a business, I don't have to be there. I can have people that's doing financial coaching for me, right? If it makes sense. So I just say that to say that. I just wanted to say that. But for my point though was, the woman, she owned her own business, self-employed, whatever, had a business, whatever. But she was like cooking, like maybe restaurant. I don't think it was, whatever. But she cooked meals, soul food. But what happened was, she was putting work, 7 days nonstop, work. And this is what people say, they're entrepreneurs, self-employed, whatever, own businesses, whatever. They say, well, a lot of people say sleep is for suckers. I heard people say sleep is for suckers when I'm grinding, right? Or I heard some people even say I sleep when I die. Why? Because they mean that they want to put all their efforts into their business or their service that they're providing. But that's what I'm saying about that work-life balance. And that's what I mean. It's more than just working for a job. Even when you have your own business or you're self-employed, you still got to find that work-life balance. And that's what people lack. Why? Because they chasing that dollar. They chasing that dollar. But this particular woman, she was working nonstop. 7 days a week, nonstop. And then she said, you know what, I'm gonna lay down and get some rest. Laid down to go to take a nap, go to sleep, never woke up again. Dead. Dead. And this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. That balance. That balance. And majority of people don't have balance. Ain't nothing wrong with wanting to make sure have your business and do the things you want to do with your business and what forth, but it has to be balanced, because at the end of the day, we're gonna die, man. We're gonna die, and that job or that business is still gonna be here. The job won't forget about you. The business still gonna be here, but your loved ones, you didn't spend that time. Didn't make the memories with your loved ones. People think they can buy their children with presents, but they don't want the presents. They want your presence. And in order to give them your presence, that time, you gotta have that balance. Most people, I can't even say most, but individuals with businesses, they may go in with the mindset, I want to do this, I want to do that, and that's good. But once that mindset starts shifting, when the money becomes your top focus, then it's going to consume your time. It's going to consume your time. When you're not chasing money, when you realize that time is the most important thing, you'll run your business different. Yeah, you still want to get paid for your services, of course, but that won't be your primary focus. And I'm saying that because I'm living it. Like what I'm doing, I do it because I love it. I love helping people. I love seeing people learn, and I love seeing people have that sense of hope. I enjoy that. I'm not worried about the money. Like I said, yeah, I want to get paid. I'm going to get paid for my services, of course, but that's not my top priority. Not at all. And I'm telling you, when you create your business and you start, working for yourself, or you create a service that's going to help people, and you're not in it just to get the money, they pick up on that. They'll pick up on that. But what makes it different from my side of it is not having debt. And that's what I'm saying, man. When you don't have debt, when you eliminate debt out of your life, you realize that, all right, what can I do to help people? Or what type of service I can provide that's going to change somebody's life? And the ideas will just come to you. Like if you work in the 9 to 5 now, and like I always say, I believe that there's something in every one of us that we would love to do and would do it for free if we didn't have that. But for many people, they they don't know what that thing is because of that. And their focus is on this. How do I keep myself in survival mode? How with a job? So because their focus is on paying debt, and most people that got debt don't even know they're in debt. And I say that it sounds weird, but I say that because debt has become so normalized that people don't really realize, well, I got this debt. Well, you're always going to have debt. This is the mindset people have. So that's why I say people that got debt don't even know they're in debt because it's become so normalized. Well, you're always going to have debt. You always got to use credit cards. You always got to finance a car. You always got to finance the phones. You got to make 4 easy payments. And they don't even look at it as this is the reason why I can't do that thing that I want to do, that I would do it for free, that I'm passionate about. Again, yeah, you want to make money off the service, but I'm telling you, I'm saying this because I experienced when you get out of debt, the ideas will come to you. And people can't see it now because they're blinded by the debt. Being on this side of it, sweet, man. It is sweet. I've been on both sides. Being on this side, I can't go back. I can't go back. To know that on this side is peace, and for me on the other side was just at a certain point it became chaos, and I sold the time of my life for that chaos. I sold the time of my life for a salary, for a hourly wage, and people don't realize you're selling the time of your life for $25 an hour. And I used to always say, as a teacher, we get salary. And not that I thought I was better, but I used to always like, I get salary, man. I get salary. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. Not really. For most people, if you really do the math, your salary is probably about the same as an hourly wage if you break it down. But we've sold our time for hourly wage, for a salary. I sold my time, man. Being on this side, I realized that time is priceless. I am the only one that can determine how much the time of my life is really worth. Me, not a job, but me. I'm the one that can determine that. I'm the one that determines that. How much do I want to charge for my service? Even if I had a job, I determine what salary I'm going to take. Oh, you paying $15 an hour, and I'll pass. I'll pass. I determine that. I know like you start a job. I know you got to start off, whatever they give a scale. You pay this, and all right, that's what you got. But if I don't agree with that, then I'll pass. Why? Because I understand how valuable my time is. But people settle. They settle. People settle. Then they'll say like, if be a team player, be a team player. But then when members of the team, maybe, maybe people leave, go on to other positions, and I'm still left behind, and I'm still, now I got to pull up the slack of the person that left. I got to do more work, but do I get more pay? But then they talk about being a team player. Yeah, it's only being a team player when it benefits the job, when it benefits the employer. And this is what I mean about, we have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries with these jobs. Otherwise, they'll exploit us. They'll exploit us. The freedom that I am experiencing, like I said, I experienced it during my sabbatical, and I loved that sabbatical. But there was always a lingering thought in my mind that I'm going to have to go back. But now that I'm gonna use the term retired, but it's just me leaving a job. Now that I retired slash left this job, and I gotta be deprogrammed. I gotta be deprogrammed because many will say, "Well, you got time, like you got to be always doing something." Who says that? Who says I gotta always be busy doing something? I can just be sitting resting. I'm doing something. But people look at it where you always got to be moving, 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 busy, busy, busy. Nah, I can just be resting, relaxing. I'm still being productive. Why? Because I'm allowing my body to rest. I'm allowing my mind to rest. But we become so programmed that we always got to be doing something. Otherwise, we're not productive. That's not true. I can just be sitting, listening to nature, and I'm being productive. But like I said, the 40-hour work week is a program. So even I got to find myself being deprogrammed from that. I still have dreams that I'm nightmares that I'm in the classroom. Nightmares, man. Still got to like get out the mindset that, okay, the what ifs, because the what ifs will come even after you get free. The what ifs will come. You gotta look at. You gotta lose sight off of that. You gotta lose sight off of that. Being on this side of it, I realized that every day is whatever day I wanted to be. Meaning I don't gotta wait till Friday or Saturday to do what I want to do. Every day, I lose track of the days. I lose track of the time. Sometimes the only time I realize what day of the week it is if it's a service night or if I have an appointment with somebody. Other than that, for me, I'm losing concept of time. The clock doesn't control me. The calendar doesn't control me. I just be. And it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I never thought I would get to this point. 5, 7 years ago, I never thought I would be here. It didn't cross my mind. Why? Because blinded. I was blinded by the program. But once I got unhooked, I've realized this can be attained, and I'm doing it, and it's simple. I didn't do anything complex. It's just simple, man. Simple math. Simple math. Just get out of debt. But even after you get out of debt, you may still have to work a couple of years to build up your savings or whatnot, but you're working by choice. Because I'm not saying once you get out of debt, to still quit your job, but no, because you still want to like have your emergency fund fully established and have some retirement, because but you're giving yourself options. If you choose to continue working, you're doing it by choice. Doing it by I didn't want to work no more. I chose not to work no more for somebody else. I didn't want to work no more. I wanted to do other things with my time. But but once you get to that point, you decide, not a job. You decide. If you want to keep working, keep working. You want to start your own business, or do that. Whatever it is, that's what I mean. You become free to do what you want when you want, instead of having to do the things that you don't want. And this is what people don't realize because of the program that we've been conditioned to. Don't realize how valuable the time is. Don't realize it. This freedom, man, this freedom, I'm telling you, is beautiful. People will look at you like, say, what do you do all day? You know why they say that? Because they think you gotta, like I said, they think you gotta be doing something. They think you're being lazy, unproductive. I can just be working on myself. I don't always gotta be working on something outside of myself. I can be working on myself. But people programmed to think you always gotta be doing something. And it's not like that. It's not true. You don't always have to be doing something outside. Be working on myself. Be working on my mental. I can be working on my physical, my spiritual. But you'll never know because you're looking at what I'm not doing. I want everybody, man, that hearing these videos and listening, I want you all to feel this, man. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful feeling. And again, not the feeling of not working, but having the option to work or not work. Having that choice. And there's some that already may be there. But I'm telling you, the majority of people, and I'm only talking majority because I look at the amount of credit card debt there is in America. Look at the amount of student loan debt in not just America, but in other parts of the world also. Amount of car payment debt, auto loan debt. That's the majority. And that's, you know, who I'm talking to, the majority, not the minority, because you're always going to have some that, are further along than I am. I'm just at the introduction of this, right? Just being able to leave a job and being able to own the time of my life. I'm just at the found the beginning level of this. There's higher levels of this that I haven't even scratched the surface to go to that level and deeper levels. But the majority of the people will never experience this. You know why? Because it's too much noise. They don't have the discipline and they're not willing to sacrifice. And that's what it takes. You got to turn off the noise, stop listening to other debt slaves, stop listening to other debt slaves. And a lot of these debt slaves are family members, the ones close to us. You got to be disciplined, meaning putting off pleasures of the present for future and long-term success and enjoyment. And you got to be willing to sacrifice. And that's what those things that people ain't willing to do. And as a result, they stay on that rat wheel. But if you're ready to become free, ready to invest in yourself, ready to get off the rat wheel so you can do what you want when you want instead of having to do the things that you don't want, come visit me. And even if you don't visit me, you can just apply some of the stuff I'm sharing and do your own research. You can do it yourself. But if you want somebody to help you, to guide you along the way, then come visit me at TrueFin Coaching. TrueFinCoaching.com. Schedule your consultation. See what we can do to help you to become free to do what you want when you want instead of having to do the things that you don't want. Peace and blessings.